Well, that didn't last long now, did it?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and welcome back to another Friday evening, another 3 new episodes of the Legend of Vox Machina Season 2. This is going to be the first episode spoiler review entitled Those Who Walk Away. Like I said, this is a spoiler review, so if you have not watched the episode yet, make sure you pause this video, go check out the episode. It's really damn good. And then come back and hear my thoughts and a couple little things I thought about and some theories that I have, especially coming at this honestly pretty fresh as a critter, because again, if you're new and you haven't been checking out the previous reviews, this is my first real experience to the characters of Vox Machina. I've been a fan since Campaign 2, and I'm currently watching Campaign 3 as well, and they just announced that they're doing an animated series for the Mighty Nine, and I'm super excited for that. So again, make sure you check out the episode first, come back and hear my thoughts about it. And if this happens to be your first time and you're new here, hi, I welcome you with great joy and promise. And my name is Will, and I do geeky stuff on the internet. I do a bunch of different things like reviews and reactions, some gaming, some drinking. I'm a big old gay nerd, and I just like to have a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoy this video, and if you happen to enjoy it, maybe subscribe to the channel. Really help me out, and I would love to get to know you. I honestly would. So let's talk about episode 4 of The Legend of Vox Machina Season 2. Alright, so this episode picks up with the immediate aftermath of what happened with episode 3, where we saw the death of Vex'ahlia because of the booby trap laid in the tomb of Pervon, the champion of the Raven Queen, who was wearing the vestige known as the Deathwalker's Ward. And before the meat of the episode kicks off, it does start with a little bit of a flashback where we get to see Vax rescuing Vex'ahlia from some bandits who captured her, and at the same time they encounter a large mortally wounded grizzly bear. They decide to show it some mercy, put it out of its misery, not knowing that there is a small cub just off to the side that they didn't notice initially. And they end up rescuing the cub and end up escaping with it, while Vax is a little hesitant about Vex'ahlia trying to raise a bear cub, but she does tell her brother everything that happens is outside of their control, and she rescues the bear, who becomes Trinket, her familiar. So we got like a lovely little backstory of how they found Trinket and how they formed their bond and stuff like that. At the same token, we see Kashaw and Zara return from wherever the hell that they were, and they see what happened with Vex'ahlia. Kashaw decides to intervene in order to help because he does know a resurrection spell, and attempts to try to do said resurrection spell while Zara is kind of against helping them. And we start seeing a little bit of a rift forming between Kashaw and Zara, which plays more into the episode's climactic battle. The resurrection spell doesn't really work. It starts to fail due to the fact that the Raven Queen is intervening and trying to take the soul of Vex'ahlia to the afterlife. In this moment, the only person that sees the Raven Queen is Vax'ildan. And this is the fateful moment where Vax'ildan This is a fateful moment when Vax offers himself in place of his sister to the Raven Queen, which she seems to accept by severing the bond. Is like a golden tether between the twins, and it's severed. And at this point, we do see that Vex'ahlia is revived, which they believe was due to the resurrection spell, but it was in fact due to the bargain that Vax made with the Matron of Ravens. And as proof of this bargain, everyone sees that Vax is now wearing the vestige, and that's one vestige down, but that vestige comes with some contingencies that Vax begins to experience and the consequences of his decision to offer himself up to save his sister. It wasn't necessarily something he thought about, obviously, because this is his twin sister. It's the person that he felt like he could not live without. Seeing what it was like living without her, he obviously made the choice without necessarily reading in the fine print. But the vestige is dope on him. Albeit you become a servant of the Raven Queen, in this case, the champion. You also get some cool perks, which we get to see later in the episode, which is super dope, and probably my favorite scene of the Legend of Vox Machina series. I want to say since like the episode 2 when they took down Brimscythe. Now that Vax is wearing the vestige of the Matron of Ravens, he starts seeing images of conflict and battle and the gods looming over this wasteland of a battlefield. He is seeing what is known as the Calamity. This is when the gods clash with each other due to the betrayer gods siding with the primordials in order to try to destroy the world of Exandria, and the gods and man deciding to fight back. And this was like a 1,000-year conflict that completely tore the world asunder and left it in the current state that it's in. He sees visions of Osessa's mate, who they're supposed to take Deathwalker's ward to, and also the location of said mate where they can find him, which is starting to trip him out because, again, he doesn't know what he's truly done, but it does get revealed later in the episode. It's cool that we're getting more history of Exandria and other things like the Calamity and the Age of Arcanum and stuff like that. And with the announcement that Amazon greenlit an animated series for the Mighty Nine, which was Campaign 2's characters, it's really exciting because it just means we're going to hopefully see more and more of this world of Exandria be animated. So I'm super excited for that. And again, like I said, I came on in Campaign 2, so I do hold more of a connection with the characters of the Mighty Nine. So I'm super excited that is coming. Man, this was probably my favorite episode so far this season. So they're trying to leave the temple. And of course, Zar's still not cool with them taking the vestige from the take, and is questioning Osessa's decision, and decides to put him to a test by releasing, I want to say it's like a demon or a legendary creature from an amulet that she has to pretty much try to petrify Vox Machina, and then in the petrification we'll take the vestige and allow Cash to cure everybody, and then they leave. It's not a well thought out plan because things go awry very, very quickly. The crew has to try to take on this lesser demon or this legendary creature, and Cash, when he sees that things are going south really quickly, he decides to step in. A lot of the team is starting to get petrified, but in this moment, this is also when Vax enters a trance that he's unable to move from, and he is transported to like a different plane or like a mental mindscape where he is in combat with Pervon Sewell, the original champion of the Matron of Ravens. It seems like a test in order to rather prove he is worthy of the vestige or in order to accept the charge of becoming the new champion of the Raven Queen. And a lot of what the flashback with Vex and Vax when they were younger, a lot of things that were said, where one of the biggest things that she says is sometimes you have to embrace what's in front of you, not fight it. That's a real big saying, and that's kind of, it started the episode and plays a pivotal moment in Vax accepting the fact that he can't fight this anymore. He's made this choice and he has to embrace it. And by embracing it and not combating Pervon anymore in this mindscape, by doing so, it activates the power of the vestige and gives him a massive boost, which is really dope. Now, I had to look this up a little bit. So the vestiges of divergence, each vestige, according to a wiki that I just looked up, has 3 states. It has a dormant state, an awakened state, and an exalted state. My mind is telling me once he put on the vestige at first, it was in its dormant state. Once he accepted the actual conflict within himself, the actual armor began to glow, and you start to see like these feathers, emblems pop up on the armor. And that's when it kicks up, when he gets like a massive boost of speed. He's able to dodge, he's able to attack this creature and take it out on its own. And it's a really dope scene. It's probably my favorite scene since episode 2 when the group took down Brimscythe. It's so well done. It's really well edited, and it just looks gorgeous. I'm assuming this is the awakened state of the armor, and everybody gets to see it too, because at this point, Cash was able to unpetrify everyone else, including Zara, who got petrified as well. In the moment, Vax is able to take down this creature on his own in fantastic style. So there are apologies, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens once they get out of the temple. You can definitely tell with this episode, one of the real subtle things that I enjoy about this is that, yes, they did the shock ending with Vexalia dying. It didn't stick. I didn't think it was going to stick. In fact, I knew it wasn't going to stick for a number of reasons. A, from knowledge that I have of future events. B, if you look at some of the trailer footage, you can see there are scenes that are coming up in later episodes of Vexalia alive and well. So we knew that she wasn't going to stay dead for long. But it doesn't take away the impact of that moment and what the moment actually meant for multiple characters. For one instance, it's what causes Vax to become the champion of the Raven Queen, which sends him down a completely different path than his sister, which I think is reminiscent and symbolic of the string being separated from Vex and Vax. And we see in another vision after they leave the temple where Vax sees the Raven Queen doing her charge, her duty of ushering people off this mortal coil. We see that the tether that used to be with his sister is now with the Raven Queen. And when he tries to back up, she pulls the tether closer to him as a signifying that they are now bonded, not him and his sister. So things have definitely changed, albeit Vex in her heart feels that, nothing's really changed, to the rebuttal of Vax saying everything's changed at this point. Their bond is now, it's separated. And that was one of the things Osisa made a point of when she was testing them initially, when she talked about Vax not being able to survive without a sister. He has to now, because now he has a different connection to the Matron of Ravens. Not only did this moment affect Vax in a big way, it definitely affected Percy, because we see that Percy he was responsible. His quick movement and not taking things slower caused the trap to trip when they didn't allow Vax to have a chance to look around. It doesn't seem like Vax is holding a grudge, but definitely you can tell that Vax is holding a grudge against Percy for a considerable amount of time. And I think it's going to be a little bit before they squash the beef. That's something Percy has to live with in that moment as well. And to a lesser extent, this whole situation also changed the relationship that Vexalia and Zara now have, because there is some sort of reconciliation. At least her debt is paid off, and Zara apologized for her brash actions in terms of releasing the creature to try to steal the Deathwalker's ward, and actually gives Vex the amulet that held the creature, so she can now keep a creature in the amulet, which is technically transports it to like a separate plane of existence where the creature is safe until it's released back into Exandria. And so she uses it now to store Trinket in moments when Trinket might be in danger, which is a smart move. It allows for Trinket to be more a part of the story without necessarily having to worry about a bear running around, getting hurt, blah, blah, blah. Basically how the episode ends now with them in possession of the Deathwalker's ward. That's one vestige down, and getting to see that vestige in action proves why these vestiges are so important and how much they will turn the tide in the fight against the Chroma Conclave. And there is a little bit of an ending scene, not really a post-credit scene, but we see that they are being spied on by Ripley, who is got a new metal arm and is tracking them in their movements while also heading to Westrum. If you remember, Westrum is what Umbrasyl went to, one of the 4 members of the Chroma Conclave, in order to conquer it, and so on and so forth. So that's the end of episode 4. Again, probably my favorite episode of the season so far, mainly because it had to live up to what happened with episode 3's finale, and also we get to see like the vestige in peak performance. And I've always heard people talk about Vax'ildan and how dope he is as a character. He is voiced by Liam O'Brien, who also, any fans of Naruto, he does the voice of Gaara. Clearly a fan favorite for obvious reasons. And with him and the vestige now bonded, you get to see the badass version of Vax. Which, not saying that Vax wasn't a badass before getting the vestige, but this just took it to like a ridiculous anime level of power display, which was really dope and really fun to watch. I like how we're able to do an episode primarily focus on 1 or 2 characters as the main focal point, but that focus also dictates and informs where a lot of the other characters' headspaces are, while other stories are still taking place that are through lines throughout the entire season. I just think the writing on the series has been fantastic up until this point, and especially with the other 2 episodes that I'm going to be reviewing as well, it just continues, and it just does a really good job. So I'm still a firm believer of that the entire arc of the Chroma Conclave is going to transcend both season 2 and season 3 that they're working on. It's just my opinion at this point. I'm going solely based off of what's being revealed and the likelihood that they will locate all the vestiges they need before the end of the season. And we'll talk about that more in the next 2 episodes. Let me know anything I might have missed in this episode, any sort of little history or things like that you want to share, especially if you're familiar with where we are in terms of the timeline of the campaign. Let me know any of your thoughts on the episodes in the comments. I really love this episode. It's probably one of my favorite ones so far of the season. It's just a really cool episode. I love how it sets up what we can expect from Vax's future. And one other little thing too, and then something I noticed, and I'll talk more about in the other episodes, but once Vax has become the new champion, you definitely see a change in his demeanor a little bit. He's still trying to figure all this stuff out, and it's definitely going to take him some time to understand what it is that he did and what it is that he has to do now. What is his fate? What is his future? That's going to do it for this episode review of episode 4 of The Legend of Vox Machina Season 2. Let me know any thoughts that you have on this episode in the comments down below. So thank you for checking out this video. If this was your first time, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you liked and maybe share this video around the internet. Especially subscribe to the channel if you are new and have not subscribed yet. I would really love that. Really make my day. I can't help have it grow without you wonderful people. So if you would subscribe. You can check out any previous reviews I've done, especially for the first 3 episodes. Those are on the channel right now. You can check out last season's reviews as well, where I did them in batches, and check those out if you'd like. You can follow me on a lot of different social media platforms listed at the end of this video. I do have a ton of videos on this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, I will catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.